Hey, all right. This is another game that we played on Friday morning. This is a game with the Sola stream crowd here. Got Sola, Blood Death Symbol, Belomorph, and I think the other three players are random players. So just a little bit of context. I think this is the third game that I played this morning with them. And the first two games I played a Noxus game, I think. Well, I played an Invoker game first and then a Noxus game. So I was just thinking I would play something different. I didn't want to necessarily play Invokers or Noxus again for this one. We got God Willow's Grove, or no, we got Scuttle Puddle. This one just gives you a bunch of extra money because all the scuttles drop extra gold. So this usually makes stronger boards just because all the extra econ at the very beginning of the game, lets you get your interest breakpoints early, yada, yada, yada. And of course, that's how the economy snowballs in TFT. Getting an early interest breakpoint makes a big difference. So here I thought I could play multicasters or Piltover. Either of those could be interesting. I haven't played that yet, so I was thinking these are both potential options to play. But of course, usually, the most important thing, first of all, is just to get upgraded units. So 2 Samiras. Again, I had played a Noxus game earlier, so I didn't really want to play Noxus specifically, but I'm still going to pick up my strongest units because that's what you do. Kind of boring. You get to watch the scuttle puddle crab fights, which are sometimes comical, sometimes boring. In this case, since I have ranging, it's nothing too comical happening. Get a bow and a belt here. Not the greatest early game items. A bow can be good. So I was thinking, what's my Zon here? So it's unstable chem tanks. I think this is the one that explodes, I think, when the unit dies. So that can be a fun one to play if you get like a Zon emblem on like Jarvan or Scion or somebody who runs into the back line and then can explode on people. So I think I could try to play around Zon. That could be fun. Not a great Jinx carry augment or whatever it's called because it doesn't do anything for her. If it was like robotic arm or something, that makes me want to play like a Jinx. Again, here I'm just trying to figure out, okay, let's just make sure I got some pairs here. Okay, 2 Cassiopeias. So Hedge Fund Charm with this, Radiant Relics, all very generic. I was thinking maybe Hedge Fund. Noxus Crown is very good, but like I said, I just played Noxus, so I didn't really want to play it again. It probably would have been the right, if you were playing on ladder, this probably would have been the right pick, because I already had a bunch of Cassiopeias and Samiras, so that would have been a good early start for a Noxus game. Oh yeah, and then I see a Double Trouble. I'm like, what are other people playing? Nobody else has picked Double Trouble yet. So I'm like, well, let's have some fun. Now, we'll get there later. Normally, Double Trouble is like the Talia board. That's just sort of the most common Double Trouble thing to play. But there's lots of other good things you can play with Double Trouble. You can play Invokers, Akshan. Basically anything you can reroll to get to 3 stars, so like a 2 cost or a 3 cost carry. And here I'm just trying to make Sean gets bored. I got 2 Invokers, so I'm like, okay, 2 Invokers, and then because I have really no front line, to go ahead and make the ZZ Rod. Not something I think I would normally slam, but because I have 3 backline units and one cost Echo here, which I guess is technically a frontline unit. Oh, he's not really a tank. He doesn't like get shields or healing or anything. But he was a 3 cost, so he's just like, he had the most health of any unit in my shop. So I just put him up as my tank. And again, the ZZ Rod helps with my lack of frontline here. Basically non-existent frontline. So no Double Trouble value yet on here. See, I'm just looking for a better frontline. I think Vi on her own is probably slightly better than Echo as a frontliner. I think she shields herself or something. I'd have to read her ability. I don't know the exact term off the top of my head, but I think she gets a small shield, so she's a slightly better frontliner than Echo, I believe. And here I realize that I can put Double Trouble in, so I have Double Trouble Cassiopeia, and I do move Vi has become my frontline unit for now, so nothing too exciting, but pretty good. This is a pretty good stage 2 board actually. Got Invoker, I got Double Trouble on my main backliner, and the ZZ Rod really helps with my frontline. Solo here is playing, looks like mages. Pretty strong. There's a 4 mage. That's a pretty strong board for 2/2. Upgraded Swain, 4 mage with Taric. And again, the ZZ Rod really saved my butt here because like I basically have no frontline, but the ZZ Rod holds on, and yeah, with Soraka here healing up the team, pretty Pretty convincing win at the end, although it could have gone a lot worse. I think without that ZZ rod, it would have been super close. I don't know if I would have won or not, but. And again, just here, every turn I'm just evaluating what's the best I can do, what's the best board I can make. Again, my long-term plan is to play Talia, but I don't have Talia, so I'm just playing whatever I have at the moment. Invokers with Cassiopeia as my back line, and a random buy and a ZZ Rod as my front line. Doing a little scouting, seeing what other people are playing. Some level up players. Nothing immediately obvious. I didn't see anyone that was likely they were going to contest my Talia board, so I was happy with that. Although this person does have Shurima, and they do have 2 Talias actually, so. But they don't have like double trouble. They're not going to. It doesn't look like they're setting up to re-roll Talia, although who knows? They could just be playing like me and just playing strongest board for now. Again, ZZ Rot holding down my front line again. And my back line is definitely stronger, so not exactly sure what Cassiopeia, I guess, or sorry, oh, he's got the sorcerers in, that's what I was thinking with the Oriana, because he had a Swain as his frontliner. Pre-level here, just because I can't make econ. One more chances to see Talia's, so get a little higher level. Actually not last pick, because there's 2 other players at 100 as well. So second to last. A lot of tiers. I'd be happy with this here. Tier items are good on Talia. I think Spear Shojin might be her best mana generation item, but there's no swords, so I can always just make a blue buff. So I get the 1 cost tier, but there is a Talia here, but she's a 2 cost. I don't think probably getting like 1 Talia doesn't like spike my board or anything, so I'm not gonna take a slightly worse item pick just for 1 Talia. We'll see those eventually when I start rolling. In fact, there's one in my shop here. So here I put in Bruiser, but then I'm like, oh wait, there's 2 5s. I think Double Trouble is better than Bruiser. That could be wrong. Bruiser does add quite a bit of health to your team. But, and again, like I said, I think Spear Shojin is the best mana generation item for Talia, but blue buff is fine. And then I could either put in 2 Sorakas or 2 Cassiopeias, but because Cassiopeia's got my item and she's 2-star, she's I want to leave her as a Double Trouble unit over like the Sorakas or something like that. And I'm holding Talia and Teemo for my eventual, that's the board that I want to play. Again, I did say that Invoker Double Trouble is playable. It is not bad as well. So if I hadn't played Invokers earlier already, I might have been more inclined to go that direction. But for now, again, just strongest board. This guy's got a pretty tanky set up front. Not a lot of damage in back yet. So again, even though my front line's pretty fake, it's a little better now that I have two vibes instead of just 1. But yeah, still able to win out there. So pretty good. 4 wins, obviously. If you can get 5 wins in the first round, it's always great to have. But I'm happy with 4 for now. So again, building up my Talias on the right, and then just playing strongest board with whatever's left over. I was just looking who did the most damage. It is, of course, the Cassiopeia, because she's got the items, she's got Double Trouble, and she's 2-star. Going into it, so I'd love to get the 5 wins here if possible. Looks like a March of Progress player. It's got some upgrades. It's got, looks like Ionia, 3 Challenger or something like that. Or 3 Ionia, 2 Challenger, so definitely a good board. In fact, they're on a win streak, Blooddust. But again, the ZZ Rot, I mean, I think the ZZ Rot was the key for this stage 2. Definitely, I think that ZZ Rot carried me on stage 2. Because my comp was very backline heavy, and just having that 1 ZZ Rot, not an item that I would normally slam, but in this particular board, it made the most sense, and it worked out. Got the 5 wins. Fight 2, questionable whether that's stronger than Double Trouble Vibe, but I mean, I'm still gonna make my upgrades here. Let's me put in Bruiser. That Vi actually has quite a bit of health bars, I can tell just from looking at it. Tarek would go well with Soraka. It's also a sorcerer, so there's some overlap there with Swain, which is what you want to play normally on this Talia Double Trouble board. Normally you have Swain and Teemo for the strategist. I did sell the Karma there. Again, I think I have the option to play Invokers here, so I don't know if I should have sold it that quickly, but I did. Really, really rich here. 59 gold and almost level 6 already on 3-1. Again, Scuttle Puddle has a big factor in that, as well as the fact that I'm on a 5-game win streak. Super rich here, 64. So I look like I level up because I'm so rich. Double Soraka value going in here. And just hold whatever units I can afford to hold for options later on. Actually roll here. Oh yeah, why have extra gold? I'm going to be rolling on 6. The plan is to roll on 6, so it's fine to just start rolling. Look for Tilias and stuff. A couple Gallios. I don't think that's stronger than my current front line though. It's not upgraded. So Bellamorph here playing a Demacia board of some sort with a, he's got 3 spatulas on the bench. So I hit him sort of before they spiked. They haven't used any of their spatulas yet. So that was good timing for me here. And again, the Easy Rot really helping out the front line, and my Double Trouble Invoker backline cleaning up the damage part of things. Pretty even split on all those damage dealers. It's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all Double Trouble Invokers. I'm looking like, oh, can I get 4 Invoker in? I was like, what's the other Invoker? Oh yeah, it's not Cassiopeia, Lysandra. So here I see a Magic Wand. I'm like, oh yeah, Magic Wand, that's great because all your backline will get 20% AD. So pretty easy pick there. Getting at the Magic Wand. It's really great in the Double Trouble Tilia board. And here just slamming whatever items I have because I'm on a win streak. I don't think that Archangels is best in slot or anything. Oh, here I see I have a chance to play 4 Invoker. And then I go, wait, once I have 4 Invokers, is it worth playing Double Trouble frontline with Galio? I think I see this here. Definitely is weaker than the 2-star Vi, but Double Trouble does add like 44 armor and magic resist, so it is pretty big stat-wise there. So here I got 4 Invokers. So now I'm thinking like, well, maybe I am playing Invokers. I'm like, the plan was to play Tilia, but if I'm just gonna get a million Invokers, I'll just play Invoker Double Trouble. That's perfectly fine as well. Although I do have the blue buff, and you don't really need blue buff in Invokers because they generate so much mana on their own. So definitely that makes it a little worse. I don't know if it like makes any breakpoints. It does like lower the max mana. So I don't know if like Karma with blue buff, like maybe with the Invoker tick, like casts 1 auto faster or something. I have no idea. I haven't done the math, but perhaps that's possible. I don't know. But again, Set, Tilia, and Swain is my plan. But this board is winning, so I don't really want to sell it. As long as this board keeps winning, I'm just going to keep playing it, for now at least. Unless my bench becomes obviously stronger, which at this point I don't think it's obviously stronger. Yeah, and here I'm like, well, Tarek's not an Invoker, so even if I end up playing Invokers, I wouldn't want to care about Tarek necessarily. Here I put in the random Set. I think the other Lysandra probably would have been better here. Oh, actually I put in 2 Sorakas, okay. I think 2 Lysandras would have been better than 2 Sorakas, but this is fine too. 4 Invoker. Pretty strong board actually. Got the Magic Wand, got 4 Invoker, got an itemized Cassiopeia here as my damage dealer, so. Again, it's not the board I'm planning to play long term, but it's a pretty good board for now. This is a level up player. It doesn't look like they've spent their gold yet, so they're weak at this moment, but they're obviously trying to go level 8 or 9. A lot of stuff on a lot of items on their bench. So again, another fortunate matchmaking for me. I hit this player before they spiked. So things are going great. 8 win streak, can't complain. I'm last pick, so I'm just gonna get whatever's left over. Could use some frontline, probably. I have 2 backline items and 1 pseudo frontline item with the ZZ Rot, so maybe some kind of defensive component would be good here. But again, last pick, so I'll just kind of get whatever. Could always use another rod. And it actually is a Tilia. Although again, Tilia is a 2 cost, so it's not as important as like taking like. Sometimes you can prioritize taking like a really good 4 cost or a 5 cost off the carousel because they're harder to hit. But I don't think prioritizing like a specific 2 cost when you can just roll for those is as important. So here, make this Raka, and then I do see the Lysandra. So again, still playing an Invoker board as long as it's still winning. I'm just gonna keep playing it and building up my. Although I do sell the Soraka, so I'm getting enough hits here that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna swap here. I'm like, okay, if I just didn't hit any of the Tilias, I would just move into the Invokers. But I'm hitting pretty good on the units that I want to play. So I do sell the Karma and just plan to move into Tilia whenever I lose, or maybe during the Wolves or whatever. I'll make That's my plan. This person is playing Warwick, but they picked it second, so they haven't had time to pivot their board into the Warwick carry yet, although it looks like they're still pretty strong. Yeah, they're winning this. Looks like I'm about to lose my win streak. So kind of sad, but considering I'm actually not even playing, like my actual board is on my bench and my placeholder board is on the board. I'm not too surprised that I lost here, but this gives me a convenient time to sell. Now that I've lost, I'll just sell and put in the actual board, so I'm not worried about preserving my win streak anymore. So I go ahead and start swapping over to the board that I want to play. Strategists, multicasters. It's a board that plays very few synergies. You can see I only have 2 synergies activated, strategist and multicaster. And here I'm just trying to figure out of all these double trouble units, which ones do I want to have? Talia is the most important one, so I want her double troubled. And then I see 2 sets. I think set is the next most important unit to double trouble because he triggers the passive, like his knockup triggers the passive on Talia's. That's sort of how the whole board works. Is you use units that have knockups and you have Talia's in your back line, and then Talia's passive is whenever a unit gets knocked up, she shoots a bolt at it. So the Talia's don't even really need to cast that much, although obviously their cast is a knockup, so it is good. But just having any number of knockups on your board, you see them just bouncing stuff around and barely win this fight right after transitioning my board. So I'm pretty happy about that. I transitioned and I still won, so again, pretty happy there. Haven't seen a ton of Talia's yet, but 4 is a good start. So I start rolling my gold here on stage 6, looking for 2 costs. Not seeing a lot here. No. All right, well, Swain 2. Normally you can consider 3-star double troubling Swain as well, but there's at least 2 other players, I believe, with Swains. There's the board I just fought, so this board with sorcerers, and I think there's also a Shurima player who's using Swain. He's a strategist, so he's pretty contested this lobby. I didn't figure I would be double troubling or 3-starring Swain, but that's fine. He's not as important. He doesn't have a knockup. He's just there for frontline and strategist. Don't need more mana generation on my Talia, although I could consider putting a Shojin on Teemo. If you do 3-star him, he is worth itemizing. If you don't 3-star him, then he's not. He's not a priority to 3-star, but if you hit him along the way, there's no reason not to. Rolling quite a bit here. Not seeing the units I'm looking for, unfortunately. I think there are also quite a few players with Set as well, so both Set and Swain are pretty contested. But at least I got the 2-2-starred Talia. So this is sort of the core you want to have. You want at least 2-2-starred Talias, and at least 2-2-starred Sets would be ideal as well. I only have 1 2-star, but the other one is at least on the board. Go ahead and make a frontline item just because I have none. Could have made a lot of AP items with that tier, but I really need some kind of a front line, so I just put it up. Protector's Vow on set there. And here's another player with Talia's. This is a Shurima board from Symbol. Can be a close fight, looks like. But barely won that one. Just one unit win there. And you can see why it's a little bit harder for me to hit Swains and Talia's. Other players are playing those units. I've actually rolled quite a bit of gold already. Probably rolled at least 50 gold at this point. Couple options here. Tactical superiority is good on any strategist board. It activates for each of your active traits though, and I look at my Talia here and I'm like, wait a minute, how many active traits do I actually have on this Talia? I'm like, well, she only has Shurima and Multicaster, and I'm not activating Shurima, so it's not like amazing. I did consider Jeweled Lotus. I think either of those is fine. The Multicaster one is not good on the Talia board because you care more about her passive than you do her active, and the Multicaster one stacks on casts, so that's more important for like the Vel'Koz Sona board than it is for this board, because again the passive is the most important part. So I'm gonna roll down here a bit. It is stage 4. I'm pretty close to hitting both Teemo and Talia, so I hit the Teemo first. I debate putting it in. Makes my front line, I don't know if this is actually better. No items on this Teemo. I don't know if getting the double trouble value on him is that important. I'd rather have more front line and more knockups, but yeah, this is what I did at the time. Here's another March of Progress player. They've got a bunch of my sets, it looks like. Yeah. Blood Dust says at least he's got a set 2 on board, and he's got another set 2 on his bench, and so he actually has 8 sets. So yeah, this is why it's hard for me to hit set. He's playing an Invoker board, looks like, or something. Yeah, he's got a Karma with an item. Combat Caster. March of Progress. I mean, he's just going to be re-rolling everything on 7 because he has March of Progress. So Aeonias and Invokers is what he's hitting. But again, this is why it's harder for me, because there's other players playing my same units. But I'm not deterred. I'm one off Talia, so I'm just going to keep rolling. Pick up some strategists. Maybe I'll put them in on next level up. Just rolling. Rolling. Still rolling. I'm one off this Talia. It's a pretty big spike. Okay, there you go. Hit the Talia. Get that double trouble Talia in there. Make sure I get the copy on the board. Yep, there we go. And here, again, I should probably put this other set in. But I sell the Swains thinking I'm not going to do so. At this point, I'm just going to push levels. I have the Talia, that's the most important one. I also got a team along the way. Not as important, but I'll take it. And then another player here. Let's see, they got Magic Wand, Lux Carry. Person's also playing Teemos. And Swains. Again, Swain would be very hard to 3-star in this lobby. But yeah, my board is basically online here. A little later than I'd want, but 4-3. Not too bad. And I've been pretty rich, so it hasn't hurt my econ too much, even though I had to roll quite a bit. So what do we have here? I'm last pick again, so I'm just going to get whatever's left over. I'd love to get a Gunblade. I'd love to have healing on my Talia, so get that rod would be my first pick. Also a rod for the Jewel Gauntlet would also be good, but that'd be 2 rods. And there's only one, and Scylla takes it, so I don't get that. I could make an Infinity Edge as her last item. It's like the worst if I had to, but there's still one more minion around. So here I'm like, well, Heimer's a really good unit. It's hard to fit on my double trouble board. Maybe I could take out a Teemo or just wait till the next level. I'm not sure whether I would. Well, I do level up here, but I end up putting the setting, which I think is right. I could consider playing this Heimer over the Teemo. I think the reason I decide not to is you basically want to spend 18 gold as soon as you put, well, more than that, you got to roll. But you want to put Heimer on your board. You want to spend at least 18 gold, and I only have 20 total. So I really want to rebuild my econ before I put Heimer on my board and spend a bunch of money upgrading his turret. So I think even though it would be stronger if I put him on my board and then spend all my gold to upgrade it, this is fine. I think I'm strong enough, and I want to econ a bit. Bellamorph here, I'm like, okay, I can probably beat a Demacia board at this point. They have used, but then I realized, wait a minute, what's that in the back there? There's a 2-star Belveth with Death Defiance and Radiant Titan's Resolve. So like, wait a minute, it's only stage 4-5. How did this happen? Oh my lord. I thought I could win because I didn't see that Belveth right away. And then I saw it. It was relatively close. I mean, I didn't get anywhere close to killing the Belveth, but I cleaned up some units at least. But that's fine. I'm pretty healthy. I can afford to econ back up a bit here. It's been trade some of my HP for econ. I think is perfectly acceptable from this position. I'd love to 2-star this set or 3-star this set. I did see quite a few other players playing it. At least Blood Dust was playing it, but he just died. So actually, there's a bunch of sets back in the pool now. So I could consider rolling. It would be the only unit I'm rolling for, so probably not worth it. But I'll definitely hold him in case I hit him. Maybe I'll roll down on 8 and hit a couple sets there. This person's got a Cassante, which could be scary, but it's only level 1 with no items, so it ends up dying there pretty quickly. This is a Streama board from Symbol. Looks like he still hasn't hit his Azir yet, so he's not super strong, but he is doing pretty good work. But yeah, Talia, the double trouble Talia board. I have really good augments for this, so I'm a bit carried by my augments here. Obviously my items aren't anything to write home about. I have a ZZ Rot and 1 Protector's Vow on the front line and 2 items on my carry, so I'm sort of relying on my augments to make up the difference as far as combat strength goes. And they are quite good augments. No doubt about that. The final, not the final, but the last of the item component rounds here. Hopefully get some components to finish up my Talia, and hopefully get some more fun line at some point. There's a potential Warmogs. There's a rod, so I could either make Gunblade or Jewel Gauntlet. Not sure which one I decide to make here. So I think I made this because I had to use this other bow. So if I made the Gunblade, it would have been hard for me to use that bow. Like, I mean, I could have made another ZZ Rod. But I think even though I would rather have the Gunblade for healing, in the interest of using all my components, I go ahead and make the Jewel Gauntlet and the Giant Slayer. Jewel Gauntlet's perfectly good as well. I mean, making Tilia crit. I think her passive can crit, so she doesn't have a ton of AP from her items, but she does have AP from all my trades. This player's playing Ionia level up, so that they've got to level 9. They rolled down. They got a 2-star Heimer, 2-star Belveth, but only a 1-star Ari. Oh, and a 2-star Scion charging through there. So pretty strong board, actually. They just hit, or they just spiked when they got to level 9, rolled down. So actually cleans me up. I was a little scared about that board. I'm like, well, they're only on 1 life, though. Maybe somebody else can kill them. That's my hope. That looked like a pretty tough board for me to beat. But again, they're only on 1 hit, 1 life, so they lose any rounds. Oh, perfect. So this is really lucky, actually. I mean, Blood Dust did die, so all the sets were back in the pool, but I wasn't like rolling for them. I just get, I think 3 of them naturally over the course of like 3 or 4 rounds into my shop, so that's pretty lucky. And that is a pretty big hit for me. Set is my main tank, and having him 3-star makes a big difference. So again, just econing, nothing really exciting happening at this stage for me. I'm just waiting to get to the next level, put in the timer. I need to be able to have enough gold. I need to be able to level up and have enough gold to actually upgrade the Heimer turret before it's worth it. So there's no reason to like rush to level 8 like immediately or anything. This player's got another Demacia board. You don't see a lot of vertical Demacia, so it's hard to evaluate how strong that is compared to my board. Looks like I'm winning. Yeah. It's not like a super close, but it's not. He had a pretty decent board, but I do win pretty handily there. And again, so 52, I could level, but again, I wouldn't have enough money to actually buy anything for the turret, so there's really no point in leveling yet. So just sitting, just waiting, doing a little scouting. So he's got both Vel'Koz and Karma 3-star. That's kind of annoying because especially the Sona has really good backline access. So that Sona could definitely just pop my Tilia because I didn't end up building the Gunblade for healing. In retrospect, I really regret, after seeing the 3-star Sona, not building the Gunblade. And here's Symbol's Shurima board. Finally got 3 items on his Azir back there. So pretty strong board, but it doesn't can't compete with the double trouble Tilia. Yeah, just econing back up here. Players are starting to die. There's that Fret 77 player. He's still fighting. That's the guy that I was scared of. That's the guy that really crushed me. And he dies. So I was like super happy to see that. I don't have to worry about killing him. Then I see a Scion. So Scion is actually like the best unit for this comp because he knocks up every unit in a line when he charges. So he has tons of knockups that proc all Tilia's passives. So I'd love to get that Scion plus a Warmogs, and of course it's gone. So I'm like, oh man. That's fine. I still have the timer to put in on the next level. But I would love to have gotten that Scion. I just take some armor shred. I don't have any MR shred, although I'm about to put Heimer on the board. Having a couple sources of redundant MR shred is always good. So I go ahead. Now I actually have enough money, so I level, get some upgrades for this turret. I don't need repair. Okay, 1 Mechano Swarm is pretty standard. And then you want double shrink. So the Mechano Swarm adds anti-heal and a cone attack. And the cone attack then applies the shrink as well. Didn't actually get the second shrink yet. Oh, there it is. But I don't have enough money for it yet. So I want to move the Onyx Spark back a little bit so it's not getting targeted. I want it to be alive as long as possible. Here's Sola's board with the fully upgraded Vel'Koz and Sona. Luckily for me, Sona's shooting away from my Tilia, so that's good. Vel'Koz is also scary, but he hits the front line. He doesn't go through and hit the back line, so not as scary specifically for my Tilia. And it's a ghost board, so ghost boards are always weaker. Do end up winning that. I do lock my shop just because I really want that shrink module as my final Heimer upgrade. And I'm out of money again. Not a good chance of hitting 9 anytime soon, but my board's basically done at this point unless I see a Scion. So there's really nothing for me to roll for at this point. All right, so nothing, like I said, nothing for me to roll for. I'm out of gold, so let's do a little scouting. Hopefully, actually, the lobby's getting pretty tight here. Bellamorph is the person with the 2-star Belveth. So that's a scary board. I'm trying to think how to position for it. I do see 1 Zephyr on the Jarvan over there, so I think I might be positioning for that Zephyr. Yeah, so I'm putting sort of some junker units in the corner over here. And then I move my Tilia away from where I think the Zephyr is pointed. He moves it up a little bit. but it's in that area, so ends up hitting my Swain, yeah. And then his Shen walks right to my back line, but that's fine because Shen doesn't do any damage. He's not like pressuring me, but tell you what is pressuring is this Belveth here. It doesn't have as good of items this time. It didn't have the Titans, and actually did get it stunned with the Talia. So I'm like, oh, I can beat that board. Okay. If Talia can keep it stunned and doesn't roll a really good Radiant item, I can actually beat it. Pretty happy about that. A couple more players just died, Symbol and six Samurai. So it's down to 3 players left here. Solo with multicasters, Bellamorph with the Demacia, and Belveth carry. Not much for me to do. Again, my board's kind of done unless I get a Scion. I could definitely take out this second Teemo. I don't really need a second call. He doesn't provide any knockup or anti-heal or anything useful. He's just there because whatever. I'd love to replace him with a Scion or something. But I do have the other Teemo though, and he's got my other second set of items. So I just put another item here for the other Teemo. I wish I could have like item remover and put that gunblade on my Talia, but I cannot. So I see Scylla is one of my fights here. So my main thing is that I want to move Talia on the opposite side of the Sona, so she's not getting hit by Sona's wave attack. So this is sort of why I positioned this way, away from the Sona, although I don't think I wanted to group up quite as much as I ended up grouping up here. So pretty close looking fight here. My front line's basically dead. His front line dies about the exact same time, and then it's just backline versus backline, and whew, super close there. Blue buff Talia came in with that last attack right in the nick of time, and Bellamorph won against whoever's ghost they fought. So it's still a 3-way fight here. Yasuo does have a knockup, I think. I think he might trigger Talia. I could consider buying these Yasuos instead of the second Teemo. The other thing I forgot to do this game was to get Juggernaut in for my set. And that would have made a pretty big difference, I think. I think a Juggernaut over the second Teemo would have been pretty good. And the second Teemo was really not doing anything. I'm just trying to use him for Zephyr bait. I'm trying to put this second Teemo where I think Bellamorph's Zephyr is kind of being located. Put him on the front line. At least he gets the strategist shield up there. Again, that second Teemo really does nothing, so it doesn't matter. Getting the value of the strategist shield is probably the best thing he can do. So this is the Belveth board again. It kind of just comes down to, can you kill the Belveth or not? It's got the Titans resolve again, so it's going to be a lot harder than before. Knocking it up. Oh, but my Talia's getting targeted. If only she had healing. Yeah, if she had a gunblade, it would have been... I might have been able to win that. I mean, who knows? But I didn't. So I did not. Pretty close. So far I've beat Scylla once when he was targeting the wrong side, and I've lost to Bellamorph. So pretty close between all 3 players, as far as my perspective goes, at least. Again, if I'd had the Juggernaut in, I think it would have helped quite a bit, but I didn't. It would have made my set quite a bit tankier. And again, here, I'm I guess in solo, so I just want to not get hit by the Sona if possible. Currently, his Sona's aimed over in this corner, so I'm planning to move my Talia away from there. Of course, he may swap, so it's hard to know. And he did swap, so his Sona's aiming across towards my Talia, so I'm like, oh crap, this may not go as well as last time. There it comes. Oof. Did he... I only saw one wave from the Sona there. I'm not sure if the stun interrupted her multicast or something. I didn't quite see what happened there, but oof, close. Yeah, that made the difference, having him cast across my board and hit the Talia. So I had the right idea, but he swapped, so he predicted what I would do. Or maybe he was... Actually, that might have been his ghost. I think actually he fought his ghost. He actually positioned for Bellamorph, and he ended up losing. He had a hard time killing that Belveth just like I did. Yeah, I mean, multicaster's a hard board to kill, like a single huge melee carry with. Here I was thinking about the Juggernaut emblem or the Strategist emblem. It probably should have been the Juggernaut emblem, but I ended up taking the Strategist emblem for whatever reason. It does double whatever the name of that augment I have is, so like that second set does get the double benefit of it because he's a strategist, but it's not super important. Probably should have been the Juggernaut emblem. Juggernaut on Swain. Would have made my board a lot tankier. Alright, can I beat this Belveth? That is the remaining question here. Just kind of shifting my front line around a little bit. I have my Teemo and my Talia together, hoping they can burst down the Belveth if they target her. So I put them right next to each other, and here we go. Here's the bouncy on the Belveth. Knocked her up once. The dummy Teemo takes the aggro, bounce her up again. Oh, she's getting low. She's getting low. Teemo plus Talia. All right, we killed the Belveth, but no healing on this Talia. Oh, ends up dying to a Lux Laser. So close. I had the right idea. Focus firing down the Belveth, but just too much incidental damage. And here I'm like, oh, it's 72 to level, and there's a 2-star Juggernaut in my shop. I'm like, well, perfect. Level up. 0 gold, but I finally got Juggernaut in. So that's actually makes my front line quite a bit tankier for my sets here. So I was happy that I had just enough money to do that. There's a better Juggernaut in shop. There's an Nasus there, but I didn't have 4 gold. I had 2 gold. So I got kind of lucky there. And again, just trying to position my 2 damage dealers near each other, hoping they can kill the Belveth here. Did get my set effort. I don't know if that's bad or good, but I have enough front line to hold out until he comes down, so it didn't end up being super impactful. There's the Belveth. So she has a guard breaker this time. Not as good as the Titan's Resolve. Oh, ended up getting her there. And this time my Talia has enough life. Close fight, but yeah, was able to do it there. So good games, everyone. I had a lot of fun that time. Cool to show off the double triple Talia board if you haven't seen that before. It's a really fun one to play. Try it sometime.